Donald Trump's presidency was a turbulent period in global politics. His America First agenda and unconventional approach to foreign policy sent shockwaves across the world. Now, the possibility of his return to the White House in 2024 has many on edge. Fears are mounting about potential disruptions to the global order, renewed tension with adversaries, and a shift in alliances. The world watches with bated breath, uncertain of what a second Trump term might mean for their future. Trump's first term was marked by trade wars, withdrawal from international agreements, and unpredictable rhetoric towards both allies and rivals. His presidency exposed deep divisions within the US and strained relationships with traditional partners. The prospect of these policies being reinstated and amplified under a second Trump administration has fueled anxiety and uncertainty across the globe. Many world leaders, diplomats, and citizens alike are left to grapple with the implications of a potential Trump comeback. Will it usher in an era of heightened global instability? Will it further erode the rules-based international order? The answers to these questions remain unclear, but the apprehension is palpable. The global community is left to navigate this period of uncertainty, bracing itself for the potential ramifications of a second Trump presidency. The world watches and waits, the stakes higher than ever before. While much of the world expresses concern over a potential Trump return, Russia might be an exception. Trump's relationship with Vladimir Putin has been a subject of much scrutiny. Despite accusations of Russian interference in the 2016 US elections, Trump has consistently praised Putin's leadership. This has led some to believe that Russia might view a second Trump term as beneficial to its interests. Trump's foreign policy, often perceived as isolationist and focused on reducing American involvement in global affairs, aligns with Russia's desire for a less influential US on the world stage. His skepticism towards NATO and calls for reduced US military presence abroad resonate with Moscow's aim to reassert its influence in Eastern Europe and beyond. Furthermore, Trump's tendency to dismiss intelligence reports on Russian interference and his reluctance to criticize Putin directly have fueled speculation about his administration's stance towards Moscow. This perception of a softer approach towards Russia under Trump stands in stark contrast to the Biden administration's more assertive stance on issues like Ukraine and cybersecurity. Whether a second Trump term would actually translate into tangible benefits for Russia remains to be seen. However, the perception of Trump as a more accommodating figure compared to his successors might be enough to generate a sense of cautious optimism in Moscow. One of the most significant anxieties surrounding a potential Trump return stems from his stance on NATO. Trump's repeated criticism of the alliance and questioning of its relevance in the 21st century have unsettled many US allies. His America First rhetoric, coupled with demands for increased defense spending from NATO members, has sown seeds of doubt about America's commitment to the transatlantic security pact. Trump's approach to NATO reflects his broader foreign policy outlook, which prioritizes American interests above all else. He views alliances through a transactional lens, demanding tangible benefits for the US and showing little patience for what he perceives as freeloading by allies. This approach has caused friction with European partners who view NATO as a cornerstone of transatlantic security and a bulwark against Russian aggression. The potential weakening of NATO under a second Trump term would have far-reaching consequences. It could embolden Russia to assert itself more aggressively in its near abroad, potentially destabilizing Eastern Europe. It could also lead to a more fragmented and less cohesive Western alliance, undermining the collective ability to address global challenges like climate change and terrorism. The future of NATO under a potential second Trump term remains uncertain. However, his past rhetoric and actions have undoubtedly created a sense of unease among US allies, raising concerns about the future of transatlantic security and the global order it underpins. The legacy of hostility between the US and Iran has deep roots, spanning decades of tension and conflict. The nuclear deal, once seen as a beacon of hope, has since crumbled, leaving a trail of uncertainty and distrust. The fallout from this unraveling agreement has only deepened the chasm, with both nations now navigating a precarious path forward. As discussions about a potential Trump return to the presidency emerge, opinions are sharply divided. Some view his leadership as a necessary force to reclaim American strength, while others fear the repercussions of his unpredictable policies. The international community watches closely, weighing the possible impacts on global diplomacy and stability. Under a Trump presidency, the transatlantic relationship faces new challenges. European allies, wary of abrupt shifts in US policy, seek ways to assert their own strategic autonomy. Simultaneously, efforts to maintain a cohesive front on issues like trade, security, and climate change become increasingly complex. The path forward demands careful navigation and a renewed commitment to mutual understanding. As the global economy grapples with new challenges, trade wars and immigration disputes have once again come to the forefront. The tensions between major economic powers are rising, and the ripple effects are being felt worldwide. Policies are being scrutinized, and alliances are being tested like never before. In a significant shift, the United States has announced cuts in foreign aid, signaling a new direction in its foreign policy. This move has sparked debates and concerns among global leaders. The implications of these cuts are far-reaching, affecting not only the countries that rely on this aid, but also the geopolitical balance. The possibility of a Trump comeback has sent shockwaves through the international community. Allies and adversaries alike are preparing for potential changes in diplomatic relations and global strategies. The world is watching closely, anticipating how this political shift could reshape the global landscape. In these turbulent times, uncertainty and anxiety have gripped the world stage. Nations are navigating through a maze of economic, political, and social challenges. The future remains unclear, and the global community is bracing for what lies ahead. The coming months will be crucial in determining the direction of international affairs.